I saw the first swallow today. I decided to wear my dancing dress, and it's bright and sunshiny, and I'm going to read you an essay called Shall We Dance? It's in the section Metaphors and Worldviews. And it starts out with a quote from Leonard Cohen. There's a crack in everything, and that's how the light gets in. Leonard Cohen. It's called Shall We Dance? Life, for me, is on good days a wild and gently rhythmic dance. Moreover, I believe that we are danced by life and not, often as we often pridefully assume, the directors of the dance. I haven't always seen it this way. One evening over 20 years ago, it was getting dark as I was driving home from a workshop with Robert, an acquaintance and fellow student. That drive became a turning point in my life. The sky was ominous, black clouds scudding across the heavens, matching my state of mind. I was talking about my relationship, the communication challenges, misunderstandings, the hurt. Robert was driving, and without even turning to look at me, he said, "You see life as a struggle, don't you, Jill?" We had just completed a personal growth workshop, which was in Germany at that time, 25 years ago, a fringe event. Workshops like that one had begun to shift and rupture the supporting beams of the psychological house I had lived in for some 40 years, but the foundations were still quite firm. Robert's words startled me, and I realized that yes, of course, that was the way I saw and experienced life, difficult times, and more generally life itself. As a struggle, a battle, a fight seemed obvious to me, and I had never questioned it. Life as a struggle implied working hard, trying your best to survive, to make it, to come out on top. These values were inculcated in my childhood and incorporated deep in my psyche. My mind churns, recalling the familiar anxiety associated with this life as struggle metaphor. Always wondering whether I'm doing it right, torn by the confusion and discomfort I felt living with ambiguities. It now seems like hopping on one foot then the other, struggling to avoid feeling the coals of fear beneath my feet. And up until then, I knew no alternative. So when Robert said, "You can experience life as a dance, you know, Jill," something cracked. And through the fracture, I could see a pale light. I love to dance. I love choreography and new steps. I take pleasure in following the lead of a stranger being swept up, grooving to the music. I have rhythm in my flesh and blood, and it started early. When I was a child, my brother and I drifted off to sleep every night to the sounds of my dad playing the piano in the living room as his special goodnight gift to my brother Jamie and me. He played an array of tunes from Johnny Comes Marching Home to Claire de Lune. And then he'd always play my very favorite, a piece whose melody and lyrics give me goosebumps to this day, Nature Boy. The greatest thing you'll ever learn is just to love and be loved in return. When I experience life as a dance, I feel fluid, I smile, I move. The tough times can be danced too, maybe even celebrated. I remember a time when my husband, this is my current husband, and I had gotten crunchy with each other. He was not talking, had gone to bed. I was hurt, sad, desperately wanted to sort it out. We had learned very different rhythms and steps. The patterns I had learned involved engaging, hanging in there, trying to understand, figure it out, get in sync. He had learned to take a time out, step back, sit one out. It felt like a new dance for both of us when we tried something completely fresh. In an inspired moment, I said, "How long are you going to be mad at me this time?" He said, 6 days, 1 hour, and 50 minutes. And we both started to giggle. We weren't struggling anymore. We had broken out of the old moves into a new dance. Contra dancing is a form of country dancing that's been around for centuries. If you ever danced the Virginia Reel in elementary school, that's an example of contra dancing. Choosing partners is gender neutral. Boys ask girls, women ask men. You dance same sex even if the numbers don't come out even. It's all mix and match. Emma and Kate are relatively new and enthusiastic contra dancers. It's all mix and match, like life can be. The movements are taught fresh each dance, each moment anew. This is a core spiritual teaching. Be here now. Not thinking or believing we've got it down, not being so grandiose as to think we know what's coming, but being open to what might emerge. It could be a do-si-do your neighbor, swing your partner, or pass through and greet the new. In confidencing, the dance dances you. The fiddles and banjos start their compelling rhythms, and bodies start to move with the beat. The caller calls and the floor comes alive. Hundreds of bodies turning, smiling, swinging, flowing, without knowing exactly how, just moving with music, paying attention to the caller, being present. I'm moving down the line with my partner, dancing with couple after couple. It's a warm and unabashed, safe and respectful, sensual thrill. The dance dances me. Driving home with Robert that day, it was still dark and would get darker. Relationship, finding my way, work, niche, culture, but there was a golden sliver of luminosity on the horizon that evening in Germany. Life can be experienced as a dance rather than a struggle. Light was dawning. Shall we dance? Enjoy yourselves, and thank you again so very much for coming today.